Recently, there was an assassination attempt on former President Trump. And it's not the first time we've experienced this as a nation. You know, luckily, Trump wasn't critically injured or mortally wounded. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. But I want to talk about why I think this happened and what it's going to mean for the country and why I think this basically guarantees that Trump will win the election. It basically guarantees. He didn't need a whole lot of help, though. Biden out here trying to stand up, can barely talk. He didn't need a whole lot of help.
Yo, this is Brandon Carter from the future. I filmed this video you're watching before Joe Biden dropped out the race. Just dropped out the race like an hour or two ago, right? And I just found out while I was doing some work, some cardio on my desk bike or dike on my oceanfront balcony. Listen, if I don't care who wins the election. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I don't really give a fuck. I'm a ball no matter what, no matter who wins. However, if I was in charge of the Democratic Party, I would just forfeit this election, because there's no way you're going to have somebody out here, parade somebody out here to campaign against Trump for 4 months and expect to emerge victorious after this guy has been campaigning really for the last 4 years for his job. And you're going to have somebody compete against him in 4 months after he gets shot in the head and then gets up and has a Hulk Hogan at the Republican convention. You will have somebody beat him. They should just forfeit this. Check me out. Here we go. Forfeit this. Focus on winning the House and the Senate, because the president can only do so much without participation from the House of Representatives and the Senate, right? I mean, he can still appoint Supreme Court justices, but like one of them has to die or retire for that to happen. And he can do some like executive orders, but that's kind of limited in scope, right? I think he can just forfeit this. Focus on the House and the Senate and reload for the next election. Man, it's over. It's over, man. I'm about to get back to doing cardio on the ocean. I don't care who wins, man. Look at my life. My life ain't gonna change no matter who wins.
I think he kind of had it in the bag. I have a theory about presidential elections that I want to share with you. Now, first of all, why did this happen? Well, here's some studies I found. This is research published in the Washington Journal, but it's based off studies they found from other data sources, Research Data Center of America. Over the years, there's been more political divide in the nation. For example, so Republicans hate Democrats more now than they did in like 94, right? According to polling. And Democrats hate Republicans more than they did in 94. It's getting worse and worse every year, like the political rhetoric within the country, and it's starting to spill over in the real world events. Right? Here's some more polling data that shows that each side thinks that the other side is more dishonest, closed-minded, and immoral than they used to be, right? So basically, each side likes each other less. In fact, it might be better to say that each side is starting to hate the other side more over the years. Now, personally, I am not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm an independent voter, and I live in a swing state. I decide the election. All the politicians are always trying to get my vote. And because I don't identify as Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, it allows me to actually just look at the candidates, their policies, actually listen to what they have to say, and then make an informed decision. I say all this to say I don't have a horse in this race. I'm not biased at all to either Democrats or Republicans. Just put that out there. All right. Now, here's some more data that shows that over the years, each party thinks that the other party's agenda will destroy America. And this sentiment has been increasing more and more over the years. And you see it in the rhetoric. You can see that in our Discord. I really believe that the biggest threat to America is not an outside force. It's not Russia. It's not China. It's the political divide that we have. If America does fall, it will be from within, not from without, because we seem to have lost sight of the fact that we're more similar than we are different, right? We agree on more things than we disagree on. And because I have friends who are super left-wing Democrat and I have friends who are super right-wing Republican, I've talked to both groups about issues. They all want similar things, just a different version of it. Both sides agree on more things than they disagree on, but they hate the other side for disagreeing on the things that they disagree on. It's kind of like how people in Boston like baseball and people in New York like baseball, but they hate each other's teams. But they both want to see a good baseball game, right? They both want the league to do well. It's kind of like that in American politics, right? We all want America to succeed. We all want a lot of the same things. It's just different versions of it. But the rhetoric has really got out of hand. To make matters worse, most Americans aren't that smart. Here's a graph of American IQs. The average American's IQ is about 100, right? Which is fine. Quite literally average. But that means half the people are to the left of this bell curve. And about 20-25% of people are here under 85, which is kind of fucking stupid. Kind of stupid. Below 70 is kind of a disability, right? These are people who probably have difficulty doing things on their own. Yeah, so below 70 is like the R word, and lower 70, 85 is like stupid. And there's a lot of them. These people can vote too. And these people ain't that smart, but they're not fucking morons, right? Like, these people are kind of fucking morons, right? And they can vote as well. To make matters worse, I say all that to say, there's no way that all these people on this graph can comprehend the inner workings of global politics or national politics. They can't tell you about the macro economy or the micro economy. They can't tell you what rising interest rates means. They can't tell you shit about anything. They dumb. They dumb, legitimately stupid, ignorant, R word. And even the smart people with higher IQs don't know a lot about politics. I have 37 employees right now. And when I used to hire people, one of the interview questions I had was, name 3 senators. No one has ever passed that. These are smart people. These people are college graduates, like smart people. They could not name 3 senators. No one has ever passed that off the top of their head. So if the average American can't name 3 senators, and then about 20% of them are kind of fucking stupid, but all of them can vote, it stands to reason that Americans do not pick their leaders based off policy, right? It's not a policy decision. I think, listen to me, and this is why I think Trump is going to win. And this is why I think him getting shot up like 50 actually helped him. I think that Americans use a more primal method to pick their leaders. I think Americans, by and large, vote for the candidate that would win in a fight. It sounds ridiculous, but I back tested this, and I'm gonna go into the data. I have data to support this. Let's get into it. So the very first example of this is when John F. Kennedy went against Nixon, right? This was before Nixon was president, right? This was the first time he ran. They had a debate, and here's a study from Purdue University where they did a scholarly analysis of the debate. And what they said was people who listened to the debate on the radio, you remember this is old school, so not everybody had a TV, right? Most people didn't have a TV. TV was just coming out, right? So a lot of people listened to it on the radio. People who listened to on the radio were more likely to vote for Nixon, but people who watched the debates on their television was more likely to vote for Kennedy. One explanation of this phenomenon was the presidential candidate's physical appearance during the debate, with Kennedy appearing better on television than on TV. And yeah, look at these motherfuckers, man. Kennedy's all tall, young, looking like a G. Nixon looking like a cartoon villain. Kennedy looking like a young superhero, man, from the 50s. This is where it really began, when TV came out. But I back tested this strategy. So let's go. We're going to take it from 1980. Ronald Reagan was like the first Trump, right? Ronald Reagan was a fucking movie star. This is a picture of him in cowboy movies when he was shooting up people and shit. It'd be like if The Rock ran for president. Because, you know, back in Reagan's time, it was cowboy movies. It was like that shit that everybody fucked with, right? That was the action movie of the time. And he was a star in that. He ran against Jimmy Carter. Who do you think won? You guys weren't alive, but who do you think won? Ronald Reagan whooped Jimmy's ass. Then Ronald Reagan went again, man. You know, 4 years later, he's up for re-election. Who do you go against? Walter Mondale. I don't know shit about this guy, and you don't either, but you can just look at the pictures. You can probably assess who would you vote for? Who'd you want to lead you? All right, then we had George W. Bush after Reagan, right? Because you can only run 2 consecutive terms. George W. Bush came through. He was the leader of the CIA at one point. George Bush was also worked in the Reagan administration. Reagan's a cowboy. And he was a fighter pilot. George Bush goes against Michael Dukakis. Yo, man, George looked tougher. He won. And during the time, like I researched this election because I was a toddler when this happened, but I researched it. They were kind of talking about Michael Dukakis like he was a bitch, like he was a punk. The political ads, they weren't really talking about his policies. They were just saying, yo, he a punk. He did some clown shit. He tried to dress up in like some military shit and he looked like a clown. And that's what all the ads were like, yo, this nigga a punk, man. Don't fuck with him, right? That was the whole shit. Then George W. Bush, now he got a little older. Remember, the presidency ages you. George W. Bush, he going up against re-election. Who's he goes against? Bill Clinton. At the time, Bill Clinton was mad young, cool. This is him on the campaign trail, right? He was going on talk shows, playing the saxophone really good, looking young, where Bush was looking he was being kind of old and frail at this time. Clinton wiped the floor with this motherfucker, man. Wasn't even close. Boom. Then Clinton, he goes for re-election. Boom. He goes up against Bob Dole. Who you think won, man? Who you think won? Now, it also helped that the economy was super good during the Clinton administration. Then we had two new contenders. George Bush Jr., right? His daddy was already president, versus Al Gore. Al Gore was Bill Clinton's vice president. Now, these two were evenly matched, but George Bush, he was the governor of Texas, and he really marketed himself like a cowboy on some real Yosemite Sam type shit. This is a campaign photo. Yeah, that's not CGI. That's not Photoshop. There was fire behind him while he was at the podium speaking, right? And this is Al Gore. Al Gore wasn't a bitch, and he had the benefit of, a successful Clinton administration. The economy was at record levels. Everything was fucking super good at the time. This one was super close, but Bush won. It depends. It depends on who you ask, because Bush did not win the popular vote or the electoral vote. This was actually decided by the Supreme Court. So this is the only one that maybe, but it doesn't poke holes in my theory. All right, Bush up for re-election. Boom. He goes against John Kerry. Come on, man. You already know, right? All right, then we had John McCain. All right, John McCain was a war hero, right? Vietnam, all that shit. He wasn't no bitch. But then he had to go up against the big homie from Chicago, Barack Hussein Obama, right? Obama out here, man, dunking on motherfuckers, looking young. Who do you think will win in a fight, right? This is my whole premise. I think Americans vote for whoever will win in a fight. And if you back test my theory up until 1980, I think it holds true. At the time, McCain was having a hard time walking around and shit. He was old as fuck. Obama out here dunking on people and shit. You couldn't fuck with him, right? Then Obama's up for re-election. Still got a mean jump shot. Still got a mean pull-up jumper, right? Goes up against Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney wasn't like a bitch, right? But I don't know, Mitt Romney was like a Mormon. He was super religious. He just seemed kind of, nothing wrong with Mormons or nothing, right? If I had to guess, man, the guys who out here dunking on people will probably win. Then we had Donald Trump. Trump came through talking crazy, being crazy, rocking the hat, going up against Hillary Rodham Clinton. This is the only one that kind of pokes holes in my theory, because Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Donald Trump won the Electoral College. So those of you guys who don't know shit about American politics, we have this weird system called the Electoral College where every state gets a vote. So you basically have to win the state. It's not who gets the most votes. It's who gets the most electoral votes. And each state has a number of electoral votes. So you can lose the popular vote, meaning you could actually get less total votes than your opponent and still win the election if you win the right states. It's super weird, but that's the system we got. But he still won. It kind of fucks with my theory because she won the popular vote. He still won the election. So I think my theory still stands. Then Trump's up for re-election. Now here's the thing. It wasn't the same Trump. We had fat Trump. Y'all might not remember. 4 years is a long time. Y'all might have forgot. Trump had got super fat. And then he got COVID and shit. Getting sick makes you look weak. That's why I stopped getting sick. I kind of realized, oh man, getting sick makes you look weak. So I let me stop doing that. And I just quit. I just gave up. You should do it too. But anyway, fat Trump against, I know you think sleepy Joe Biden and all this other shit, but he wasn't looking like so much of a bitch 4 years ago. In fact, I remember watching the campaign and I was like super impressed that these old ass men was doing a bunch of speeches per day, flying around. I was like, I'm tired as fuck. Are these guys on Adderall or what are they doing, man? Like if I gotta leave the house twice, I'm tired. In my 30s, late 30s. This is how Biden looked. This is a campaign picture. He wasn't looking as much of a bitch back then. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't looking like as much of a bitch But Trump had got fucking fat and he got COVID, made him look weak. He lost that election. Like, if I had to pick fat Trump over Biden 4 years ago in the fight, I think Biden would have won that fight. Things have changed, though. Now we got this Trump. My man taking bullets on stage. then raising his fist like, yeah, fuck what you heard. I'm still out here. Biden is having difficulty walking upstairs. You get what I'm saying? This is the contrast now. Biden's health and mental health has seemed to have taken a turn for the worse. It's been a difficult 4 years for Biden. Nobody's going after Biden. They just waiting. It's easier to just wait some stairs to get them. They just waiting on the stairs. And Trump's out here taking bullets on stage. There is no doubt in my mind that Trump is going to win this election. Look, we just back tested my theory. We went back over 40 years. You know what I'm saying? That's 42 years of data. 44 years of data, almost 50 years of data to prove that Americans vote for the person who would win a fight. It's clearly Trump right now. Biden is losing fights with staircases. Trump is taking bullets to the face on stage. Then he went and played golf the next day. It's super clear. I really think that's how Americans pick their presidents. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what it is. That's how it is. And, you know, a lot of people are thinking that this was a political stunt. Listen, man, I know a lot of people have been shot. I don't know nobody who's been shot on purpose, especially that close to the brain. Like, if I was to get shot on purpose, the shooter wouldn't aim for my fucking head, right? It'd be like my leg or my fucking shoulder, like definitely away from all the vital organs or my brain. Like a headshot? Yo, in Call of Duty, you get like props. You get like points for headshots. I know, I play in Call of Duty and it tells me how many headshots I got, right? I wouldn't be, yo, listen, I want you to shoot me almost in the head. Like that, listen, that is not a stunt. Had he not turned his head, we'd be in a different situation. And I'm super glad he dodged that bullet, because I think America dodged the bullet. Because remember what I showed you before, how there's been so much like rhetoric between the two parties, and the two parties hate each other more. You saw what happened when he just lost the election. They stormed the Capitol. Like, his supporters stormed the Capitol. Imagine if they blew his head off, right? It would be crazy out here. I'm so glad he wasn't hit. I don't know what would happen to America. If losing an election causes people to storm the Capitol, imagine what that would have done. I'm super glad he survived. When I say I have friends on both sides of the aisles, like legit, I have friends on both sides. I have friends who campaigned in New York for Bernie Sanders. I also have one of my boys went to prison because he was storming the Capitol. He was in one of them pictures hanging from the Capitol. That was my boy. And I was like, whoa, I didn't know he felt this strongly about it, where he gave his freedom. And that dude was a millionaire. He wasn't like some fucking redneck truck driving broke boy. Like, he was a millionaire. He was just super excited about this shit. That's where our politics is today, right? And I noticed when Trump won the first election, I asked my followers, I have a lot of followers, if you voted for Trump, tell me why you voted for Trump. Because I didn't vote that election. I wasn't trying to demean him. I really wanted to know like what the appeal was. And I would have did the same thing if they voted for Hillary Clinton. I just wanted to get it in the mind of the voters. None of them gave me any policy decisions. None of them told me about any of the policies he wanted to enact. Only thing, the general consensus was, basically they were saying that he was a badass, or that he wasn't politically correct. And that was like the consensus, like, oh, you motherfuckers really wanted Rambo. Like, that was who you really wanted to be president. Motherfucking Rambo or the Terminator or some shit like that. That would have been your perfect candidate. And even that supports my theory. Here's what I'll say. The presidential election will have way less impact on your personal life than you think. It really will. Because the president, for him to get anything done, he needs help, both the Congress and the Senate. And he's going to need some bipartisan support to get anything done. And that's the system we have, right? We're not electing kings, right? We have a system of checks and balances. No conservative president can be as conservative as they want to be, and no liberal president can be as liberal as they want to be. And history has proven that. What will affect your life substantially is the actions that you take. No matter what happens in the economy, no matter what happens in the government, I'm going to find a way to succeed no matter what. So if Biden wins, he won't. But if Biden wins, I'm going to find a way to succeed under those circumstances. If Trump wins, I'm going to find a way to succeed under those circumstances. I'm going to succeed no matter what. You know what I'm saying? I'm a ball no matter what. That's why I don't read my horoscope. I don't care where Jupiter is. I don't care where Mercury is. I don't care where the moon is. I'm going to get money. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what Mercury does. Mercury can suck my dick. I'm going to get this money. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care who wins the election. I'm going to get this money no matter what. And you need to have that same outlook on life, that you are going to make sure you succeed, your family succeeds, the people close to you succeed, no matter what happens. That's the American way. If you want to learn more on how you can succeed under any circumstances, I got a video somewhere around here that'll show you how to set goals and accomplish them in record time so you can run circles around these motherfuckers. And if the Republicans win, you'll benefit from the tax cuts. All right, let's go.